And by Toyota's quality line of cars and trucks. Toyota, I love what you do for me. CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? AT&T, the right choice. And by Tots, the premium champagne.
Back at snowy Mile High Stadium. The snow continues. All last night and all this morning and still coming down. Checking out the two quarterbacks. The Giants lead at 14-0. Sims 8 out of 11. 131 yards. 1 touchdown. A 57-yarder to Meggett. Elway 5 out of 10 for just 69. So Sims certainly has the edge, at least in the first half.
Well, I think the fact that he's not wearing those gloves, I think that helps, and the running game also helps. And you look at the other things here, the Giants being able to run. And, you know, we said they had 4 games this year that they didn't gain 100 yards. Those are the 4 games they lost. If they've gained more than 100 yards, they win every game. And look, in the first half, they have 67. So they won the first half. And you look at how it breaks down. They made most of their yardage, and again, on a slippery day, you'll tend to do that. Most of the yardage up the middle, 63 yards inside. Because of that thing, sweeps are very difficult to run on a snowy field.
Cuts very difficult to make when you have to take it up the field. Treadwell will kick it in the direction of Meggett and Ingram. Ingram makes a nice stop. And he is slung out of bounds at about the 21-yard line by Darren Carrington.
You know, you can look at the type of passes that you throw in this kind of weather. Sims did not throw a pass over 15 yards. See, look, to the left, he was 4 for 4, 2 for 5 in the middle, 2 for 2 to the right. So to the outsides, he's been perfect, 6 for 6 when throwing outside, under 15 yards.
1st and 10 at the 25, the same 2 that started. Will begin the second half. Anderson and Carthon. Maurice Carthon straight ahead. Got just 3. 14-0, Giants leading. The Eagles have already won. They need this one to stay even. Denver needs a win to clinch the home field advantage throughout the playoffs.
And I think the other thing Denver needs a win for is just to turn things around. They had a tough loss last week to the Raiders, and they want to get back on that plus thing.
2nd and 7. Outside to Zeke Moat. Close to a first down. Should be. 8-yard pickup.
Lots of blocking here in the nose tackle. This is the thing you have to do. That's Bart Oates. He's blocking against Cragen. You start off, and he has help on his right side. So he takes away the left hard. Then Brian Williams steps down. So they give him no place to go. When you have help from your right side, you step quickly to your left side. And then the 2 of you form a wall against the nose tackle and pin him right on the line of scrimmage.
1st and 10 Giants, their own 37. Bruce Son is in the backfield with Carthon. Batted down. Greg Cragen got the hand up to knock it away.
Well, they got Cragen. They double-teamed him on the play before. This time, Oates is just going to take him. Here, boom, he comes straight up the middle and knocks the ball down. Well, before we saw a double team on a pass. This time, Oates has him single. So he takes him, push, makes the move right there, and knocks the ball down with his right arm. That looked like the type of things that was happening to Phil Sims and the Giants last week against the Eagles.
2nd and 10, 37. Sims to Anderson over the left side. A gain of 5, stopped by Alfonso Carragher.
You know, Greg Cragen is getting to be one of the better nose tackles in this league. He's one of those guys who plays the run, again, like right now, you know, if it gets to be a passing situation, boom, they'll run him out of there. But he was a free agent type of guy who kind of made himself. I mean, he's kind of a self-made man, nose tackle. See, he straightens the center up, just doesn't allow any movement in there.
Meggett is in the backfield. 3rd and 5. Giants at their own 42. Sims is hit just as he let the ball go. Intended for Manuel, incomplete. Pressure from Holmes and Mecklenburg.
I think the Broncos have realized one thing, that they have to get pressure on Sims, and they're going to have to blitz him more than they did in the first half.
Dennis Smith, the Broncos safety man, was shaken up on the last play.
Dennis Smith missed last week's game against the Raiders with a groin injury. They thought that if they held him out the whole week that he would be fine the rest of the season. Dennis Smith is a Pro Bowl type safety, one of the good safeties in the league, one of the tough guys. And you know, at one time John Robinson was coaching at SC. He had Dennis Smith, Joey Browner, and Ronnie Lott in his secondary.
Wow.
That'd make a good coach out of anyone.
Landeta will punt to Ricky Nattiel this time. He's standing at his own 17. Out of bounds at about the 30. Maybe not that quite not that far. 13-15 left to play in the 3rd quarter. Only a 24-yard punt. And the Broncos will take over at about their 34-yard line. Next Saturday at 12 o'clock Eastern Time, the NFL Today, and I guess what you could call a special edition. And then after that, the Dallas Cowboys play at the Meadowlands against the Giants. Then at 3:45 Eastern for the season premiere of college basketball on CBS, Joey Meyer takes his DePaul Blue Demons down to the Dean Dome to take on Dean Smith's 17th-ranked North Carolina Tar Heels. Here's Elway. Got it to Clarence Cave. Reasons. Made the stop, a pickup of perhaps 10. Now they move it back to where it's about 9.5.
Yeah, if you look at what Elway has done so far, the distance from 3 out of 4 under 10, 1 out of 5 between 10 and 20 yards. And then he had 1 for 1 over 40 yards. So again, under 10, he's been pretty successful, having trouble with that medium range throw.
2nd and 1. Here's Humphrey. There's a pretty good move. When he dipped into the hole, that just shows you why he's such a good back.
Yeah, that's what some of the backs say, that any back can get to the hole. It's what you do once you get in the hole. Again, this is that counter thing. Now, as you say, watch the moves he makes there. He makes 1 or 2 moves there to pop around that thing, make guys miss, then another one, and finally Mark Collins gets him. But those feet are going all ways all the time, aren't they?
Really. 1st and 10, Denver at midfield. Elway will throw it. If he has time, flag on the play. Elway dumps it over to Vance Johnson. But there's a penalty marker down back at the line of scrimmage. It's got to be holding. That was a gain of 23.
The Broncos have really been hurt. There's a big play. This is going to be called back. Remember, Bobby Humphrey had a big run early in the first half that was called back because of a penalty. These guys in this game thus far have been snake bit by penalties.
Number 60, offense, first down.
Number 60 is Gerald Perry, the left tackle right here. That's his 2nd one of the game. I tell you, the fans are upset with this guy. Watch him. See, Marshall takes that inside, so he puts his right arm in there to stop the move. Then he gets the left arm up in pass protection. I think he was called for the right arm, stopping that slant move.
7 times for 52 yards for Denver. Sewell back there with Elway, who will put it up again. Gets it to Michael Young. A good throw. 12-yard gain. Got some of it back.
Mark Collins was out there. Watch 25. Collins jumps, and the ball is over his head and right into Young's hands. I'll tell you, when this guy throws them, they sure look pretty.
Don't they, though? Second down for the Broncos. The ball's at the Giant 48. They need 8. Bobby Humphrey. Stopped by Pepper Johnson after a 4-yard pickup.
Yeah, now this is an area 3rd and 4 or 5 where John Elway really likes to mess with the snap count and draw the defense outside. Then he can get a free play and then go deep. And he is the best at it. I mean, this guy is a master at this situation. Just through voice inflection, trying to draw the defense offside and get a free play.
Jackson. He got the first down. He had more yards than he wound up with. He still got 19. Leonard Marshall down to make the stop.
Sure that Mark Jackson was going sideways too long because he let the defensive line get there. But Bill Parcells says this is when Elway's most dangerous. Drop back to about 9 yards, then step up to about 5 and drill it. He said when he does that, it's almost impossible to cover.
Elway to Humphrey, hit behind the line of scrimmage by Reason. And Washington, the ball came loose, but it was too late. A loss of 1.
Gary Reasons is the guy that tipped that ball in the first half and took away a pass interference call. He's a real solid player. You know, I mean, he's always there, good against the run, plays that zone defense, smart guy, smart player. I saw him in the locker room last week in New York, had his kid there. His kid's wearing number 55. Gonna be a linebacker just like that.
2nd and 11. Elway's got a man. He had a touchdown. Vance Johnson was open. He had beaten Mark Collins.
Yeah, he really did. He was behind Collins by 5 steps, and Elway got the ball there. Again, these are tough things. Watch Collins up there, playing him in tight coverage, gets a pretty good bump, then he slips. Now Vance Johnson has him by 5 yards. Collins catches up a little. Johnson had to wait a little. I was thinking if he just put a little more on that, I mean, Vance Johnson should have had it anyway.
Oh, yeah. 3rd and 11. Ball at the Giant 26. They're blitzing. Incomplete. A flag on the play.
I don't know, it looked like his right guard, Doug Waddell, was downfield, or it looked like he threw it to his right guard, Doug Waddell, number 67. Either way, it was probably on poor old Doug.
Leonard Marshall's not quite sure if he wants to accept this penalty or not.
I would bet Leonard Marshall doesn't make that decision.
He might deliver the message.
Yeah, I think so. I think he would be his message.
Receiver downfield on the pass, number 72, offense, 3rd down.
They accept.
Yeah, they called Keith Karts, big center. Looked like the right guard was down there too. Watch 72, the center. That's who they call, being downfield in the screen. I think he's down there. I think 67 is both down there. He almost hit Waddell with it.
They were both downfield to block for a screen, but there was nobody to screen to.
And they're so big they can't hide when they get down there.
Elway, complete, knocked away by Mike Young. And a flag on the play.
And I think that could be another penalty against Gerald Perry. But wait until the fans hear it's on number 60, Gerald Perry, if it is. Gerald Perry's really had his tough times. He was in court all last week.
This is a body, a tripping foul on number 60 offense. Decline.
This has been a long day for number 60, Gerald Perry. That's his third big penalty. Watch him right there. They say he illegally used his body. And I think that's right there, that left leg, when you bring it up like that, I think they call that leg whipping. You get leg whipped like that, that'll bend you over.
They refuse the penalty, and Horan is back to punt. Aiming for the sideline, and doesn't do it very well. That almost went into the stands. That winds up being an 18-yard punt, and so the Giants will take over. They lead 14-0.
Hard luck Cowboys try to topple the playoff-hungry Giants. It all starts with a special NFL Today, next Saturday at noon Eastern on CBS Sports.
We're back at Mile High Stadium in Denver, the home of the Broncos, who trail the Giants 14-0. 9:40 left in the third quarter. At Summerall here with John Madden. Hand off to Ottis Anderson. Picked up 2.
The other thing that's been impressive about this game, Pat, in this kind of weather, is that there hasn't been a turnover yet.
Right.
And remember in the Super Bowl, when these two teams played, there was only 1 turnover. I think when the Giants are trying to get back on track, they felt they had to be able to do 2 things. 1, run the ball, and 2, eliminate turnovers.
2nd and 7. Sims intended for Moat off his fingers.
I think if there's any injury that has hurt the Giants this year, it's been Mark Navarro. And not because Zeke Moat just dropped that last one, but I think that's affected their running game. I think it's affected their receiving, their throwing to the tight end. I think it's made the job of quarterback a little tougher. If there's any guy that you could ill afford to lose for this offense, it was Navarro.
3rd and 7. Giants are at their own 21. Sims taken down by Carricker. He was chased out of the pocket. He managed to pick up a yard, but not enough. Sims looks like he's shaking a bit.
I know, it looked like his hand or maybe something got in his eye. I don't think he knew it was 4th down coming up. Got a straight arm there. When he gets hit there, you have no idea what happens in those piles.
Ricky Nattiel back to return Landetta's punt. Can't run it down. And it does stay in bounds at about the 27-yard line. 49 yards that time by Landetta. So the Broncos have it now with 8:12 left in the third quarter. Giants up 14-0.
Of DePaul, the Tar Heels of North Carolina, the season premiere of college basketball on CBS Sports next Saturday.
The Giants lead Denver 14-0. Philadelphia beat Dallas. Minnesota overwhelmed Atlanta. Kansas City's defense was tough on Green Bay. Detroit eliminated Chicago from the playoff picture. Houston 20-17 over Tampa Bay. And here we go. 1st and 10 Broncos at their own 28. Humphrey almost lost the handle, but then got it back. Banks knocked him down. Seattle beat Cincinnati. Pittsburgh over the Jets. Shutout. New Orleans beat Buffalo. Washington came back to beat San Diego 26-21. 2nd and 4. Dan Reeves. Done an outstanding job since he came here. Looking at Mark Jackson, who slipped down right on the sideline again.
I tell you, this Giant defense gets in that soft zone, you know, that too deep zone, and they play that better than anyone in football. And I think that if you get behind it, it's really tough. I mean, if you just look at how they play, just let it roll here, and you'll see how they get deep, and then if we can just stop it. Here, you see, they got the zone here, and then they got the safeties back in here deep, and they just make you throw into areas that you don't want to throw in.
3rd and 4.
Woo!
Elway bought enough time, got it to Vance Johnson. Sheldon White. A pickup of 19, and the Broncos move into Giant territory. 7:19 left to play in the 3rd quarter. There's a penalty marker down.
Be illegal use of the hands. It was probably when he rotates up in that zone, hitting the receiver and then hitting to the head or hitting him after 5 yards.
1st and 10 from the Giants 47. Elway. Hey! That one was on the hop to Vance Johnson. Leonard Marshall got the push.
And then he was worried that he was going to get a penalty. Watch big Leonard, number 7. He does a spinner in there. Comes out of the spinner straight up. Now, after he hits Elway, then after you do that, then you put your hands up in the air. Now, when you put your hands up in the air, that means you didn't do anything.
Or at least you didn't mean to. Second and 10. Clarence Kay.
You know, it's interesting that the Giants are now putting pressure on Elway, and the Broncos are having to go back to the team that they were a couple years ago, where they're just a passing team. And the thing that does that is the way the Giants have played offense. Now Elway has to go back. Now the Giants can take off. Now they can pressure him, and they can play Bill Parcells' type of game.
Leonard Marshall, by the way, has 4 tackles, 1 assist, and 1 sack. As the Giants will put the pressure on this time with just 2 linemen and 2 linebackers. The pressure is there from Eric Howard, who misses. Elway. Toe dance down the sideline to get a 1st down, a pickup of 11. Difficult to see if you're inbounds or out.
Well, it is, but still, this is a heck of an athlete going down the sideline. First of all, he outruns Eric Howard. Then he finds there's nothing there. Then he's going to start down the sidelines, tiptoeing. Now, you can't see the sideline, so you don't know if he's on it or not. But he knows where the 1st down marker is. And he goes out just after he picks up the 1st.
First down at the Giant 36 for Denver. Incomplete, intended for Vance Johnson.
You know the thing about that sideline, Pat, is defensive players have been taught all their life you play the whistle. So it's not that you play the sidelines, you play first downs, you play markers, you play nothing. You play the ball, and then you play the whistle.
Second and 10. They're at the Giants 36. The Broncos trailing 14-0. Draw play. I think that's Sammy Winder. Stopped by Myron Guyton. Was Winder.
That is the toughest thing to do in this kind of field is to make cuts. You know, I think that you can run, but when you try and plant your foot, you see he plants right there, and as he tries to twist over and cut back, that right foot just slid out from under him. And Sammy Winder's an 8-year veteran. This isn't the first time he's done it.
Third and 10. Jackson in motion. Finally caught. Michael Young juggled it a couple of times and got it just before it hit the ground. Williams and Guyton on the stop.
But just they have a double team. They got two guys out there. Michael Young goes up for the ball. It comes out there, then he goes for it again, it goes out again, and then on the third time he's going to dive and make the catch. That was a heck of an effort.
First and 10, Denver. They're on the Giant 23. The handoff is to Humphrey. Reasons up to make the stop. Elway has scattered it around pretty well.
Well, you can see that he's thrown 6 to his wide receivers, 4 to the running backs, 3 to the tight ends. 6 to the wide receivers, 2 to the tight end.
Second and 7 at the 20. This is as deep as Denver has been in Giant territory today. Humphrey is the lone setback. Elway got away from one man, got away from another one, and is hammered by Reasons. Really popped by Gary Reasons.
Hey, John Elway in the last 3 plays has made 2 of the greatest moves that I've seen, and Gary Reasons on the last 2 plays have made 2 of the hardest hits that I've seen all year. But watch Elway on this play. I mean, he brings the ball down, pop, spins, he's going to go, he's looking, avoiding the tackle there, just comes out of a spin, and watch Gary Reasons unload on him. Whoa.
That's Gerald Perry who's down. It has been a tough day for him. 14-0 Giants. Perry on the sidelines.
Watch what happened to him here, Pat. We'll see that he's going to get hit. He's going to get hit by Johnny Cooks as we go up here. And there he is right there. Now we can stop it here. We can see here's Cooks. He gets blocked right into Gerald Perry there. See, and that just takes out that knee.
Third and 3. Handoff is to Winder. And he's down inside the 10. Mark Collins made the stop. First and 10 at the 10. And from the way the yard line markers are, you can't really tell. It looks as if they can't make a first down without making a touchdown. Elway to Humphrey to about the 2. Stop blocked again by Collins. And Perry Williams.
Hey, the Broncos have gotten themselves back in this. They're starting to get control on the line. They're starting to get angles. They're making holes, and they're making areas that the running back can get through. They're giving Elway some protection, and then John Elway himself is making big plays.
2nd and goal at the 2. Humphrey and Bratton behind Elway. Low wham by Bratton. Didn't quite get there.
I'm sure what the Giants are thinking of now, Pat, as they bring up 3rd down here. There's Bill Belichick, who's the defensive coordinator of the Giants. They're thinking of that great goal line stand they had last week against the Eagles. And this is a thing that you have to do. You have to get penetration. You have to get lower than they get. You have to give them no place to go underneath and no place to jump.
Eric Howard took care of the underneath. Good penetration. Humphrey is the deep back in the eye. He didn't make it. Steve Diassi, who made a big stop last week, just made another one.
Now this is football down here. You get down here in the trenches, guys knocking around, bodies flying around. I tell you, the Giants are not going to be denied here. Steve Diassi was the guy who made that play. Last week, he was the guy who made the big play against the Eagles, number 99.
Elway asking for quiet. Don't forget he can roll out and likes to. Humphrey. Reasons. Like a shot.
That is great football. Gary Reasons on that drive made 3 of the best hits I've ever seen him make in his life. Or I've ever seen anyone make. And this is the best of the 3 best.
Wow.
Look at the determination. He reads run the whole way. He reads Humphrey the whole way. He takes off for the jump before Humphrey takes off for his jump. That is football.
So the Giants will operate from their own end zone. Carthon try to get outside, wrapped up by Simon Fletcher. The word on Gerald Perry is that he has a bruised knee and will return.
You know, the first thing that the Giants are thinking here is get the ball out beyond the 5-yard line to give the punter their full distance. He has 6 tackles, but 3 of them were awfully hard hits.
1 on Elway and 1 on Humphrey particularly.
Right, and when you lose a player like the Giants have lost Lawrence Taylor, guys like Gary Reasons have to pick up the slack.
2nd and 10, Giants at their own 2. Not much there. Steve Atwater up to stop Maurice Carthon.
What the Broncos like about having big safeties is you have Steve Atwater. They can put him up on a line of scrimmage like this. They put their safety, and he's as big as a linebacker. And then he gives you that quick force and support with a big body.
Brings up 3rd and 7 for the Giants at their own 5. 20 seconds left to play in the 3rd quarter. Now less. Sims fakes. Out of the end zone, chased by Carricker and down by Carricker. Almost a safety. A loss of 4.
That was a big loss because now the Broncos can come with a punt block. See here now the punter would have had 15 yards. When you lose this yardage here, see, he couldn't throw there. He had to bring it back. Then when he had to bring it back, he didn't have enough pass protection for that.
Ericker and Fletcher. That's the end of the third quarter. With the score, the Giants 14, Denver nothing. We now pause for a word from your local station.
Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Miller High Life. By that man a Miller, the best comes shining through. AC Delco, automotive parts that don't just fit, they match. And by Today's Chevrolet, who invite you to see why nobody's winning like the heartbeat of America.
Fourth quarter about to begin at Mile High Stadium. Sean Landeta will have to stand, or hope to stand, inside the back end zone line, which is going to be hard to tell.
And the Broncos aren't going to come on a punt return. They have two safeties deep so that they can be sure and catch the ball.
That's Johnson and Nittmo back deep. Landeta right on the end line. They'll have to hurry. Not bad. Nittmo. Skips down to about the 32-yard line. Lee Roussan knocked him out of bounds. Smart move by the Broncos once they decided not to try to block it, to put two guys back there.
I think that's the thing you either have to do. You either have to go after it because he's going to have a short snap and try and block it, or put two guys back there and make sure that you catch it. The thing that Dan Reeves was saying was interesting yesterday, Pat, when he was saying that one of the problems that we're having, we had last week against the Raiders, is not moving the ball as much as when we get in position, not scoring with it.
No way to throw it. Banks on a blitz. Almost had him. Chased by Washington. And Elway just had to throw it away. In all fairness, he hasn't had much time today. Good pressure.
Carl Banks was in his backfield. You see it. Carl Banks took a swoop at him, kind of like he did, remember that Randall Cunningham thing. He just wrapped both arms around him. Watch Carl Banks, 58, and all he comes up with is some air and some snow, I think. Look, Elway just steps right out of that. Carl Banks isn't going to like that one being in another guy's highlights.
Second down. And 10 from the Giants, 32. Humphrey went in motion. Elway wheeled it to Clarence Kay, but nothing was there. He was hit by Reasons, or butted heads with Reasons.
Reasons has been butting heads with everyone out there today. He's like a man possessed. He's come out there. He said, let's go up to Denver Mile High Stadium and play some ball.
The Giants lead it 14-0. 3rd and 10 from the Giant 32. Touchdown. Michael Young.
You give John Elway shots at you, he's going to get his share of them. Watch here, it's a zone defense. Just get by the zone, and you see Kennard, he comes up, sneak in behind him, and there's no one around Michael Young. But the other thing, the pass rush is tired. No one was pressuring Elway.
Extra point by Treadwell is good. That's 14-7 with a lot of time left.
Look at the time Elway had.
$14.29 left, to be exact.
summary is sponsored by Levi's 505 jeans, the zipper fly jeans with a traditional Levi's fit.
Summarizing, Lawrence Taylor of the Giants has not played. He dressed, but hasn't been in for a down. Dave Meggett got a 57-yard screen pass from Sims to score the touchdown, the second touchdown for the Giants. John Elway just got back in it with his Broncos, and I think the observation you just made is very significant. The Giants' defense is getting tired.
That's what I think. You know, you think of chasing Elway all day, but then the other thing you think of, Pat, is this altitude.
Altitude, right.
Okay, Elway's the type of guy, as he has that gun and keeps taking shots.
The kickoff handle and then mishandled by Mark Ingram. Jim Lucas was down to make the stop. 3 plays, 32 yards in 21 seconds to get the Broncos on the board.
And this is where, when you talk about your running game, that you have to be able to run, this is where you need your running game. For the Giants, they need it on this drive. Now you talk about defense. This is where you talk about your run defense. This is where you have to stop the run.
Holmes and Mumford on the tackle.
You know, these fans here in Denver are great fans. They understand their defense. Remember, years they had that orange crush and that defense, and they knew how to root for defense. So they know this situation, this is where their run defense has to do it.
Second and six. Giants ball at their own 16. To Baker. Lyman Henderson took him out of bounds.
I'll tell you, Phil Simms did what he had to do. Get in split backs, get some protection, looks out there, finds his receiver, throws it just as he is being hit to Stephen Baker. Now watch him. Now his right side is his backside. He is throwing turned away, and he still has to step into it.
First down, Giants at their own 28. That's Anderson. Fumble. He got 2 yards, but there was a fumble. They still haven't decided who has it. Mecklenburg comes out saying we got it, but it's not settled yet.
Referee Jerry Markbright is down at the bottom of that pile trying to figure out who has it.
Jerry's down in there with him.
Yeah, he's at the bottom there. Pat came on a wham block. He's the guy who comes in motion. Watch 22. He's going to block on the nose tackle Cragen. So Cragen makes a heck of a play. When the ball pops out, Roussan was there. And I think it was Roussan, number 22, who ended up with it. Good play by Cragen. He gets over that block. I think he's the guy that knocked the ball out. But see, because Roussan was in there to block it, I think he was the guy who ended up with it.
Second and 8. Outside to Carthon. A couple of yards short of the first down. Mumford and Randy Robbins made the stop for Denver. 6-yard pickup. Big down coming.
Hey, Phil Simms looks like a different quarterback in this game than he did a week ago. I think part of that, again, is because they've been able to run. I think the pass protection, like George Blanda told me many, many years ago, the best weather to throw in is snow because you don't get the big pass rush.
I think the wind might be a factor, too. There's not a lot of wind, and there certainly was last week. Incomplete. Intended for Baker, and here comes Landeta.
Well, that defense of the Broncos that had improved this year so vastly started and played like it on that last drive. In the first half, looked like the Giants were getting to him pretty well.
Again, they put two safety men back. Johnson and Nattil. Will be Nattil. No place to go. He is hammered by the Giant coverage team. Renee Thompson, the first. 14-7. 12:05 left to play.
Boys trying to topple the playoff-hungry Giants. It all starts with a special NFL Today. Next Saturday at noon Eastern on CBS Sports.
This is not all of it, but this is part of the playoff picture. Philadelphia's record is 10-4. They lead the NFC East. Minnesota improved to 9-5 today. San Francisco's 11-2. They play the Rams tomorrow night. And those are the teams still alive in the NFC. Elway back to throw from his own 31. Chased by Banks. Gets it out to Breton. Not much. A gain of 1. The AFC again. Buffalo 8-6. Houston improves to 9-5. Denver's 10-3. They have clinched the division title. They're playing for the home field advantage. The wild card scramble in the AFC is still very complicated. All those teams still with a chance.
Well, you know, at the beginning of the day, they put those things in computers, and like in the AFC, there were like 642 different combinations.
Lawrence Taylor at the bottom of your picture. Elway, pass almost intercepted by Perry Williams. Leonard Marshall might have deflected it.
Well, Lawrence Taylor is playing now with a back spasm and a broken ankle. I bet you just knowing him that when they scored, he wanted to shut him out, and then he said, "To heck with it, I want to get in there, I want to play. Let's get in here and win this game."
That was Marshall that got his hand on it. 3rd and 9. Elway made a one-handed grab. Nattil had the first down and cut back. He had it and lost it.
This is a situation that is going to be interesting. I'm sure Dan Reeves has to go for it, but he has to remember he got down on the goal line and couldn't do it. And I would bet that he doesn't use the same type of plays he used on the goal line. Because I would think that the Giants will use the same type of defense they used on the goal line.
I would. They're going to measure it. Nattil, without question, had the first down and then went backwards trying to get more yardage.
Well, as a coach, that used to drive me crazy.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
I used to always want him to go for the big play, but always know where the first down is, and once you have it, never go back where you were. But this isn't a gimme either.
No.
And that doesn't look like much, but that isn't automatic. Hey, look at the couple of plays Elway makes here. First, a heck of a play by catching the ball, then finding Nattil, and then concentrating and then just drilling it out to him. Now, as you say, now he had the first down, and if he had fallen forward, it would have been a first down.
They changed their mind. Moran in the game.
I'm sure he remembered that goal line. Of course, you could always remember the Giants went on a fake punt.
Meggett signals fair catch. Makes it. Got down in a hurry. So we have 11:05 left to play. The Giants leading 14-7 at Mile High Stadium.
Seatbelts. It's going to be a breathtaking weekend. The hard luck Cowboys try to topple the playoff hungry Giants, followed by a season premiere featuring Blue Demons and Tar Heels. The return of college basketball. And the usual bridesmaids are going for the bouquet. Green Bay's cardiac pack attack meets Mike and the Bears. The NFL intensifies, college hoops returns, and the excitement explodes here on CBS Sports.
Mile High Stadium has really been given a dusting today. Snowed all night, and it's continued all day. The Giants scoring summary. Ottis Anderson got his 11th touchdown of the year, 3-yard run. Phil Simms, a 57-yard screen pass, on which Dave Meggett made a heck of a play. And Elway, 32-yard pass to Young. 14-7 Giants. 11:05 left to play. Anderson, the lone setback, 1st and 10. Giants at their own 21. Anderson to about the 25, a pickup of 3. Michael Brooks made the stop.
You look at this, and it shows the defense that the Broncos have played in the second half, because the Giants haven't been able to get anything going. 5 plays, 3 plays, 3 plays, and 5 plays. So in the first half, they had a couple of great drives. In the second half, they really haven't had any drives.
2nd and 7 from the 25. Sims threw it away.
Lawrence Taylor, you can just see in his eyes that, I mean, you can see snow in his eyes now, but you know that he knows what championship football is. And he knows when you get this close to it, you can't let it get away. They felt they let it get away last week against the Eagles. They got a lead here. They have to feel they can't let this one get away.
3rd and 7. Giants at their own 25. Meggett is in the backfield with Sims. A rush by Holmes. Sims got the 1st down. Atwater had a shot at him and missed him.
Atwater was standing there. Sims just gave him air, and Atwater just sat there and pounded on the ground. He's a #1 draft choice. That was what he was drafted for, because he's a good tackler to make tackles. Then on 3rd down, when that quarterback runs, you can't miss that tackle. That was a big play for the Giants.
That play, John, puts the Giants over 100 yards rushing, which we talked about in the beginning.
That's what they have to do to play Giant football.
Tillman is the deep back. No gain. Brooks made the stop.
We were talking to Dan Reeves yesterday, and he said that Michael Brooks gives you pass rush, but the other thing he said he does is he really plays the end run well. Now watch him play that. Of course, there wasn't much of a block. Maurice Carthon was on the line of scrimmage trying to block him. And you really have to hold that thing until the guy gets there.
2nd and 10 at the 36. The Giants 36. You can't tell which way they're going, really, or where they are. Carthon hit almost as soon as he caught the ball. Dennis Smith was the first one there. Pickup of 3.
I don't remember doing many games like this, Pat, but
No.
I love them. I love this. You know, I mean, provide. There's no dome stadium here. There's no artificial turf. There's none of that stuff. It's just man against the elements and against the other team too.
The blessing is there's not much wind. 3rd and 7. Meggett. And they have another first down, and they keep the football.
They can get on Phil Simms, but I'll tell you, he is a tough guy, and he has made a couple of big plays on this drive.
9 yards on that one.
The first 3rd down, remember, he ran. He picked up a first down. Here it's 3rd down. He finds Meggett in there and zips the ball to him. Of course, 2 things. One, they've been able to run for over 100 yards, and this right here, pass protection. Letting them have a little time, letting them step up.
1st and 10 at the 49. Anderson to his right for about 3. Rick Dennison made the stop.
You can see it in that Bronco defense in their eyes there that they had him backed up. They had him in those 3rd downs, and they let it get away. And you can just feel that when you're down by 7, that's okay. But when that time is getting close to just 6 minutes left, that puts another element of pressure on you.
2nd and 7 at the Denver 48. 6:38 left. Anderson slid for 2 maybe.
I think O.J. Anderson was running in there in that 2nd down play with one thought in mind: don't fumble. He was protecting that ball, and he wasn't going to let that one pop out of there. You know, he's done a heck of a job. We just saw a picture of him there. Is Eric Moore, number 60. Was sick last week and didn't play, and then when Jumbo Elliott couldn't play, he had to move out to left tackle. Done a good job of blocking, pass protecting, and run blocking.
3rd and 6. Meggett was the intended receiver. Can't hold on. He was being shadowed by Atwater.
Simms made his part of it. He felt that they lost containment. He got outside to his left. He had to decide whether to run or pass. Meggett was open. He just didn't catch it. But that was still a good drive for the Giants because they got the ball to midfield, took a lot of time off the clock, and the Broncos are going to be backed up.
And again, they have 2 safety men, Nattil and Vance Johnson back. Nattil signals fair catch, and the ball bounds into the end zone. They'll start from their 20. 47-yard punt by Landeta. The Giants got 2 touchdowns in the 2nd quarter. 3 yards from Anderson, 57 yards from Meggett. If you look at the rest of the scores from today around the league, Minnesota's starting to play better.
Kansas City's playing a lot better.
Detroit is. Too late. Houston hung on against Tampa Bay. Seattle upset Cincinnati. It's 14-7 Giants over the Broncos here. Elway. Vance Johnson out of bounds to stop the clock in front of Perry Williams. Pittsburgh shut out the Jets. New Orleans beat Buffalo. New Orleans, in spite of that, eliminated.
You know, these guys are out here on the field, Pat, now staying in front of the teams and knocking these lines back. So at least on this drive, they're out there cleaning the lines off in front of them. Now, how can you sweat the snow like that? I mean, you're into the game.
1st and 10 at the 30. Broncos. Johnson. Nope. Mark Jackson, sorry. Mark Collins on the coverage, and good coverage. Let's go back for an NFL update to New York and Brent Musburger.
Hey, Pat, in some places the sun is shining beautiful. This is Southern California. This is how the Cardinals went ahead, Pat. You reported the score. That short pass to Novacek now, 14-9 over the Raiders. Great kickoff return, though. Raiders coming back. And let's go back to Pat and John.
The snow continues. It's 14-7, 5:13 left to play. 2nd and 10, Denver at their own 30. Johnson. Stopped by Pepper Johnson, a yard short of the first down.
Well, John Elway has taken over this game. You know that Bill Parcells was saying, other than the shotgun, Elway doesn't drop back anymore. He waggles and rolls and bootlegs and runs. That was his 14th straight drop back. So I think that when they were ahead, that was the way they played. Now, John Elway has to take over this game and win it for the Broncos.
Well, they need a yard for a first down at their own 39. Jackson was the man in motion. Elway back to throw it. Up the middle, complete. To Vance Johnson again. They'll move the sticks to the 45.
That's what I said. You know, they got down there in the goal line. They tried to do it with their running game. They didn't get in. And from now on, down 14-7, this is going to be John Elway's game.
It almost has to be.
Right. You get third and short, they aren't going to run and try and pick up. They're going to let him go back and throw it.
They got to start looking at that clock now. Less than 4 minutes. They need to make something happen in a hurry. Clarence Kay was open, and Elway got a shot to him. Harry Williams brought him down after a pickup of 13.
You know, this is the time to throw it, too, because, like I said, late in the game in Mile High Stadium, the visiting team always gets more tired. And it's, you know, it's part of chasing Elway all day, and the other part is the altitude.
3:20 left to play. 14-7 Giants. Mobley moves on the left. Elway swings it out to Humphrey. Humphrey gets a first down with his ability. Knocked out of bounds by Collins, but a gain of 13.
You see those pass rushes, Pat? They can hardly get off the line of scrimmage. That's the thing, and you give a quarterback like John Elway time, he'll kill you.
I'll tell you something, John. I was down on the field before the game. We were up pretty high in the press box. When I walked up those steps, not that I'm in this kind of shape, I could tell it.
Oh, yeah, you can tell it. That's why they call it Mile High Stadium. They remind you of it all the time. They don't call it like Denver Stadium or Broncos Stadium. It's Mile High.
Elway to the outside over Bratton's head.
That was great coverage that time by the Giants. Elway was trying to go in the middle and deep. He couldn't find anything, and Bratton was like his third receiver on that one.
While we have a moment, the coordinating producer of the NFL on CBS is Charles Milton III. This game produced by Robert D. Stinner, directed by Sandy Grossman, and the executive producer of CBS Sports is Ted Shaker. Second down. Elway to Humphrey. First down. Myron Guyton knocked him out of bounds. Pickup of 11. And the Broncos move closer. And so does the clock move closer to the end of the game. 2:35 left. Both teams with all 3 timeouts remaining.
And Mile High Stadium is rocking.
Hand off to Bratton. Picked up 3. Down to the 15. Pepper Johnson stopped him. And Reeves, since he's been here, his club has the best record in pro football. 2-minute warning comes to us. 14-7. The Giants lead the Broncos. Join us next Saturday at 12 Eastern for the NFL Today and NFL action when the Dallas Cowboys play the New York Giants. Then at 3:45 Eastern time for the season premiere of college basketball on CBS. Joey Meyer takes his DePaul Blue Demons down to North Carolina to take on the North Carolina Tar Heels of Dean Smith. 2nd down and 7 at the Giant 15 with 2 minutes remaining. That's the owner of the Broncos in the middle, Pat Bowlen. Elway to Humphrey up the middle, couldn't find the handle. 3rd down.
Well, the Broncos are definitely in 4-down territory here, because when you're down by 7 and less than 2 minutes to go, you have to go for it on 4th down. So that's one thing that Dan Reeves can think about here, is he has 7 yards to go, but he can think about 1, going for the score, 2 for the 1st down, or 3, getting the 1st down in 2 plays.
Takes you back to a couple of other 4th down situations earlier in this contest. Elway out of the end zone, incomplete, intended for Ricky Nattillo. Used up just 9 seconds.
Isn't it funny how you play all day, Pat, also, and the whole game is going to depend right here on this play. If the Giants can stop them, they'll win the game. If they can't, we could very well be looking at overtime.
Elway paid a visit to the sideline. Now he'll have Sewell, and I'm sure, well, I see Clarence Kay.
But he better watch the clock, because he's breaking the huddle. He only has 12 seconds to get this play off.
Got to hurry. He's down to 6 now. He has time. Incomplete. Incomplete. A couple of dives into the end zone. The last one by Kay.
Watch it here. He had good pass protection. He takes the thing, zips it in here. Boom, up in the air. Again, they still have a jump. It goes off Sewell. Now it's coming up in the air. It's a jump ball. The Giants win the jump ball.
Meyer and Guyton won the jump.
Now the Giants do have to get a 1st down, because even though there's only 1:45 left, the Broncos do have all their timeouts.
1st and 10 Giants at their own 15. Sims to Anderson. Stopped by Holmes. Mile High Stadium in Denver. For those of you expecting to see 60 Minutes, I'm Pat Summerall along with John Madden. Welcome to Denver's Mile High Stadium, where the score is the Giants 14, the Broncos 7. 60 Minutes will be seen in its entirety following football, except in the Pacific and Mountain time zones, where it will be seen at its regular time. To summarize the scoring, the Giants 7-0 when Anderson scored on a 3-yard run. Then on a remarkable run by Meggett, it was 14-0 Giants. Elway got Denver on the scoreboard with a 32-yard touchdown pass to Young just as the 4th quarter began. It's 14-7. Our boys have braved the elements today.
Yeah, they've done a heck of a job hanging in there, and
haven't they?
Get pictures in addition to hanging in there.
2nd and 9. Reverse coming to Ingram, to Lee Roussan. Stop short of the first down, a pickup of 6. Tonight on CBS begins with 60 Minutes, then Murder, She Wrote, and then the CBS Sunday movie, Money, Power, and Murder. That's tonight on CBS. Giants 14, Denver 7. A minute and a half left to play.
This is a big down here for both teams, because if the Giants get a first down, then there's nothing the Broncos can do about it. But it's a 3rd and a long 3. Now, if you run and don't make it, you're going to force them to take the timeout. If you pass and don't make it, if it's an incomplete pass, then that stops the clock or gives them another timeout. This is a tough decision.
They're back at their own 22-yard line. And ready to do whatever they're going to do. Baker split wide left, Ingram right. Carthon was the man in motion. The handoff is to Anderson. He won't get the first down. Mecklenburg wrapped him up. Timeout, Denver. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League. It's intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Denver Broncos and the National Football League is prohibited. The rest of the people responsible for this outstanding effort under very adverse conditions. All we can do is say thank you.
Sure can. They do an outstanding job, not only in adverse conditions, but in all kind of conditions. They're there, and they're amazing things that they do. I'll tell you, the Broncos are going to get the ball back. They get an automatic timeout here now with time of possession. I mean, with change of possession.
And they won't have that far to go if they handle the punt.
But they won't have any timeout.
Right. Landetta got off a fine punt. Now Teal handles it. 4-6 on the hang time. Renee Thompson down to make the stop on Latiel.
That was a great play by Renee Thompson. Renee Thompson sprinted down that field. He looked like he was running a 4.40, and not only that, but when he got down there, he made a tackle. A big punt by Landetta. Great coverage by Renee Thompson.
So Denver takes over at his own 23. And Elway has a tough task. A minute 15 remain. Four wide receivers. Vance Johnson couldn't hang on.
You know, sometimes it's the little things like Renee Thompson's coverage that you know, I mean, you remember the quarterback and the running backs and the guy that gets the sacks, but this guy made a big play after a great punt by Sean Landetta. And the players know it. The players were all there jumping on Thompson and hugging him and everything.
2nd and 10. They used 5 seconds. Batted down. Johnny Cooks knocked it away.
I think these Giant pass rushers are so tired they can't really get to Elway. In fact, they can't get off the line. But if you're not going to get to them, if you're not going to get off the line, then jump up and make them throw over or through something. That's what Johnny Cooks did.
Third down. Michael Young. 2-yard gain, but the clock is running. Elway after a gain of 5. Burns valuable time. Eric Howard and Johnny Cooks brought it down. Got to take some shots at the end zone now. And instead he decides to just stop the clock.
I think what happened, he didn't even have his wide receivers back to the line of scrimmage yet. He probably knew to try and run a play. He couldn't get anything out of it. So he would burn it down and try and regroup and huddle up and let Dan Reeves send in or signal in a play.
That makes it 3rd and 5. 23 seconds left. 3 wide receivers to the right. 14-7 Giants. Caught and out of bounds by Mark Jackson. 15 seconds left. Nobody else in football could make that throw.
He was looking to his right, and then he threw it across his body all the way across the field, and that thing had no arc on it at all. That was all John Elway. That was all zip. And the Giants have very, very little gas left in their tank.
15 seconds left. Elway will go to the end zone. Nateel up close to it, but Myron Guyton knocked it away. 8 seconds.
And one thing about Dan Reeves, he is a competitor. That deal about clinching division, clinching home field means nothing to him. No matter what game you go into, you go in it to win. And if they don't get this one, that'll give them 2 losses in a row. Bill Parcells, on the other hand, has done an outstanding coaching job bringing this club back because it was tough. They lose to the 49ers. Monday night, they come back, lose to the Eagles. He didn't know what he had here today, but he got great, great effort.
Same thing again. Incomplete. And that's the ball game. Was 23 out of 47. 14-7 Giant victory as Parcells and Reeves shake hands. And the Giants stay record-wise at least in a first-place tie with Philadelphia at 10-4. For John Madden, I'm Pat Summerall saying so long from Denver's Mile High Stadium, where the final score was the Giants 14, the Broncos 7. Join us Saturday at 12 o'clock Eastern for the NFL Today and NFL action as the Dallas Cowboys take on the New York Giants. Then at 3:45, the season premiere of college basketball of CBS. The Blue Demons of DePaul against the Tar Heels of North Carolina. You've been watching CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League.